Okay, so we are at the end of the first day of free agency, and there have been a lot of moves. Usually there are bigger names being moved around during free agency, but I think this is really interesting. Some of the names that have been thrown around. Um, it was kind of a boring start to free agency, starting out with just a couple people re signing and making extensions with the Grizzlies, and that was kind of it. But then Dorian, right? I'll get into pretty much every move that happened. Yeah, let's see. So we have Jaren Jackson Jr. and Santi Aldama re-signing pretty much at the start of free agency. Jaren, his deal was a restructured max contract over 5 years. He's been great in Memphis. Arguably, in my opinion, their best player, even better than Ja, mainly due to, he does more on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, 1 year he was Defensive Player of the Year, and he's averaging over 20 points a game, so he's pretty much all you can ask for out of that 4 spot. 5 year, 240 million, 22 points a game last year, along with 5.6 rebounds, which is kind of his one flaw. He's a big man who doesn't rebound the ball a lot. But 5.6 rebounds, 2 assists, 1.5 blocks, 1.2 steals. He's led the league in blocks 2 years of his career. Yeah, he's got great numbers in terms of percentiles, from shot creator. He's 93rd percentile point per game, 79th rebounds, 98th blocks per game, 90th steals. He's got all these great numbers, 71st in three-point percentage as a big man. It's huge. Yeah, they're bringing back 2-time All-Star, 1-time DPOY, 2-time block leader, I think 3-time All-Defensive, and other random news, he's changing his number from 13 to 8, so there's that. Then we've got Santi Aldama's extension, which was a 3-year, $52.5 million extension. He had a career year, 12.5 points per game, 6.4 boards, 2.9 assists. Year-to-year improvement for him. I'm excited to see what he does. I'm pretty sure he's still the only Spanish player in the NBA, which is kind of crazy. I mean, growing up, there were like a ton of Spanish players like Ricky Rubio, the Hernan Gomez brothers, the Gasol brothers, Rudy Fernandez, all these different names, and now it's just Santi Aldama, which is kind of wild. But, he's playing well, doing great for Memphis. Next, we had our first real move. Dorian Finney-Smith went to the Rockets, like I said on my last video. 4-year, $53 million deal. Yeah, I mean, since, I guess, this last year, whenever he was in Brooklyn and in LA, he averaged 8.7 points per game, 9.3 boards, 1.4 assists. The main part of his game, though, isn't shown in the stats. He's a great spot-up guy. He'll hit threes anywhere on the court, especially in the corners, lethal corner shooter. Shot 41.1% from 3 this last year. But not only is he an elite shooter, but the best part of his game is honestly his defense. Like I said in the last video, I think he's been snubbed a few times of being an all-defensive team selection, at least 1 year when he was in Dallas. Love Dorian. I put down elite shooter, elite defender, elite vibes. Huge loss for LA. He's perfect around Luka Doncic. You get that great defender and great spot-up shooter. It's really all you need to surround Luka with, and they just kind of fumbled that. They let him walk. Didn't need to let him walk. And yeah, huge mistake in my mind by them, by the Lakers. Huge get for the Rockets. Paul Reed re-signed with the Pistons, 2-year, $11 million. I think he's a good backup big. I'm not going to waste too much time on this. It's not a huge move. I really like Paul Reed, and his per 36 numbers show that, he's very productive in the time that he is out there. This last year, his per 36 was 15 points per game, 10 rebounds, 3.6 assists, but then on the defensive side, 3.2 steals and 2.1 blocks. Now, take that with a grain of salt. This is a guy that got 9 minutes a game. There's got to be a reason he's only getting 9 minutes a game, even though he's putting up godly numbers on per 36 basis. But yeah, Paul Reed, good backup. I think maybe one day he might get a bigger chance and actually break out, but as for now, he's just kind of stuck in that backup role behind Duran and behind, I don't know, Isaiah Stewart. Really anybody that's over there. Next, we had the Cam Spencer extension. Not going to spend too much time on this either. 25 games last year, I think, is what it was. Maybe it was 10 games or something like. It was 25 games. Yeah, 2 years, $4.5 million. He did drop 23 points on the Mavericks towards the end of the year, so shout out that. Yeah, pretty standard rookie extension. Showed a little bit of promise. I hope he has a good career. Cole Anthony, he was bought out. I don't know if he has been bought out or if he's planning on being bought out. I forget what the report was, but I actually was watching NBA TV and they were talking about Greg Anthony. His dad was on there and he was like, well, we might see Cole Anthony get bought out. And then just a few minutes later, I saw that Shams reported that Cole Anthony was probably going to get bought out. So, I don't know. I hope he does well. Great offensive guard, spark plug. It was a weird guard room in Orlando, and then when he got moved to Memphis, it was like, well, you know, he's going to be playing behind Ja Morant, and he's going to be playing behind Scottie Pippen, I would assume, because Pippen was actually really good in that backup role. I don't really see how Cole Anthony could be better. He's a little bit better offensively in terms of scoring the ball, but Scottie Pippen just Scottie Pippen Jr. Was just a more well-rounded, solid backup, and I liked what he did, and I wouldn't want him to lose his job to Cole Anthony. But excited to see what Cole can do in a new opportunity. We'll see what it is. And then Jake LaRavia, 2-year, $12 million deal for the Lakers. Yeah, he's a good shooter. There you go. A good shooter. I think he's their Dorian replacement. I think he is far from Dorian Finney-Smith and what Dorian can do. But as a good shooter, shooting 42%, which is the 94th percentile of the NBA, which is pretty huge. He could excel off of Luka and LeBron passes. Them drawing the defense and then kicking it out to the open shooter. That could be where Jake LaRavia finally sticks and finds his place. Yeah, I don't know. Personally, I would, if I was the Lakers, I'd rather just play Dalton Knecht more. But yeah, Lakers add another white guy. Trey Jones, we got signed a 3-year, $24 million contract. I really like Trey Jones. I thought he was really good in San Antonio, even though, you know, there were all the memes of like, this guy's not passing the ball to Wemby. What's he doing? I think he's a very good backup guard. Honestly, I thought he should have been starting in San Antonio. He won't be, you know, he's going to be behind Josh Giddey in Chicago, and Kobe White and Ayo Dosunmu, all those guys. But 3-year, $24 million, it's a good deal. Good backup guard, good creator. Shot 39% from 3 this past year and 53.8% from the field just in general, which is great as a guard, a small guard. That's awesome. So hope he can succeed. Next up, we got D'Angelo Russell signing on a 2-year. Shams reported $13 million, but I think it's actually a little over $11 million, slightly below $12 million. Super excited about this. D'Angelo Russell joining the Mavericks. Second year is a player option, so he has the option to leave if he really, you know, rehabs his value. But for at least 1 year, D'Angelo Russell on this short contract, this tiny number, you know, in terms of the whole cap. I mean, it's like $5 million out of the $154 million cap. Like, that is pretty awesome. Like, he's going to be starting, and he's only taking up, like, I don't know, very insignificant portion of the salary. So he's going to be a good creator, good stopgap for while Kyrie's out, natural scorer, good facilitator, and he's got a lot of connections on the team. Jason Kidd. Was Jason Kidd a connection? Shoot, dude. I'm lost. Um, yeah, Anthony Davis, Max Christie, Klay Thompson, they were all teammates of his. Jared Dudley was actually a teammate of his. And then I think Jared Dudley might have coached him in LA. I think Jason Kidd might have coached him in LA. And then Mike Pennerthy or whatever, he's a guy that we're bringing over from LA to join the coaching staff, I'm pretty sure. And, well, he's bringing him from Denver, but he was assistant coach in LA whenever he was there. There's another one. If we bring back Spencer Dinwiddie, he's another guy who's played with D'Angelo Russell. Kyrie missed him by a year, but it's just all these different connections. It seems like it was just kind of meant to happen. A little bit. I'm pretty excited to see what he can do, especially because this is his lowest contract since his rookie deal, and if he can rehab his value, that would mean he probably would have had to have a really good year in Dallas. And I'm excited to see that. I want to see what a motivated D'Lo can do. Then we had the trade just randomly in the middle of the day. We got Michael Porter Jr. for Cameron Johnson, but not only it was Michael Porter Jr. and a first-round pick for Cameron Johnson. Now this is really weird. I don't know, not weird. It's a really good trade for both teams because Denver gets away from Michael Porter Jr., who was kind of a black hole at sometimes. Like, yes, he averaged around 20 points a game, but you really got a good number of like 20 plus point games and then a good number of below 10 point games because he just can't hit a single shot, and all he does is shoot and he doesn't pass. He's a black hole. But when he's on, he's on. He's one of the main reasons that they were able to win that championship a couple of years ago. Really like Michael Porter Jr., and he has a chance to be the guy in Brooklyn, and honestly that's probably what Brooklyn wants. They receive a first rounder, right? So they're trying to, go forward with their youth movement, get more picks, more chances at discovering something great. And then you get a chance to bring up Michael Porter Jr.'s trade value by making him the best player on your team. He's just going to shoot a lot, probably make a lot of threes. He's, I think, statistically one of the best three-point shooters in NBA history. I would not be surprised if we saw him average 25 plus points per game, just because there is nobody else on that roster that is worthy of doing that except maybe Cam Thomas, who isn't even signed yet. So Michael Porter Jr. could be the best Brooklyn net next year. We'll see what happens with that. Cam Johnson, I think, plays perfectly off of Nikola Jokic. I mean, he is one of the smoothest shots, good, and he's a smart player too. Like, he doesn't just take bad shots. Like, he is smart, takes great shots, and makes them. So I think he's perfect there. And then that actually also cleared room so that they could sign Bruce Brown, right? Brucey B, finally back in Denver. They said he wouldn't leave, and then he left, and now he's back. So that's honestly pretty massive. If I was Denver, I would definitely take Cameron Johnson and Bruce Brown over Michael Porter Jr. Nothing against MPJ. I just think that's a better deal. You get two players that can play real minutes for a championship quality team instead of one who is unreliable, really. So, like it for both teams. Next, we've got Karis LeVert going to the Pistons on a 2-year, $29 million deal. He replaces Malik Beasley's minutes, who is actually in a betting scandal right now. So we'll see if he was betting on his own games in 2023. I think this was when he played for the Bucks. We'll see if how that thing kind of plays out. He might be out of the league. I put down like a lot of notes on Malik Beasley because he's a free agent and he had a great year last year. So I was like, I need to just write down stuff just in case, and now he might just never play again. So I don't know. I hope he didn't bet, or gamble on his own games. Crazy. Jonte Porter. Anyway, So yeah, Karis LeVert replaces Malik Beasley. He's basically Tim Hardaway Jr. I would say Tim Hardaway Jr. plus. Like he's got a little bit more to his game than Tim. Microwave type, the heater off the bench. He's just going to get buckets. That's what he does. So he will fit the Malik Beasley role. I don't think he's as good as Malik Beasley, but I don't know. I hope he is. I like Karis LeVert a lot. So 2 years, almost 30 mil. It's a pretty decent contract. Kevon Looney, 2 years, $16 million to join the New Orleans Pelicans. This is big. I mean, this is the guy that's been the starting center for a while in Golden State. Was a huge part of their championship run recently. I think was it 2022? I think it was. So he's gone. He's going to be reunited with Jordan Poole. So yeah, great rebounder. Wouldn't be surprised if he's the starting center for the Pelicans. We'll see what happens with that. It's a pretty cheap contract for a starting center, so good for the Pelicans. I hope Golden State figures out their center spot. And we got Luke Kornet, 3-year, $41 million to the Spurs. Very good backup for Wemby, probably the best backup they've had for Wemby. Played very well last year in Boston. I think he's played better and better as he's gotten the three-point shot out of his arsenal. I think he realized that he's just better off being a regular big man. He had a lot of very solid games whenever Kristaps was out with injuries, and so yeah, I like Luke Kornet to the Spurs. Decent deal. Then we have Clint Capella, 3-year, $21.5 to the Rockets. He's finally back home. Feels weird. If it felt weird not having him in Houston after the first few years of his career. He's going to back up Sengun and maybe Adams too. He might just be the third string center on that roster. Very team-friendly deal. I like Capella a lot. I hope he can do well over there. He's a fun player. Vertical threat, lob threat. He can still defend. He's still a good player, so we'll see what happens with Capella, but the Rockets are really building something scary. I mean, just this offseason up to that point, right, we've got Kevin Durant, we've got Dorian Finney-Smith, Clint Capella. I mean, that is 3 huge moves. So shout out to them for that. I mean, they're really doing everything they can to make themselves a real contender this year. And up next, we got Ty Jerome, 3-year, $28 million to Memphis. Memphis made a lot of moves, right? Most of them were just, shoring up their team from last year, but bringing in Ty Jerome to back up Ja Morant or maybe even see minutes at the 2 guard, I thought that was a great move. I really like Ty Jerome. Just had a breakout year in Cleveland. He looked very good in Cleveland, and I'd love to see what he can do in another real role on this Memphis team. Then we got, what is this? Brook Lopez. This was a very funny deal to me. Brook Lopez, 2 years, $18 million to Los Angeles Clippers. It was rumored that he could be going to the Los Angeles Lakers, and he chose the team next door. I think it's really kind of hilarious because it's not even that big of a contract, right? $9 million a year to be a backup center. I mean, the Lakers would have offered him to be their starter. He's probably the best backup center in the entire NBA. He's definitely a starting caliber player. But I think the blueprint has been laid out by the Thunder and by the Pacers. You win with depth rather than superstars now. Superstars, right? You need a superstar. But multiple, no, you really need a strong team with little to no weaknesses. And Brook Lopez is bringing that to the Clips to be the backup center. And very impressive signing. I mean, I don't know how they convinced him to do a 2-year, $18 million to be a backup. But yeah, good for them. Good for Brook Lopez. I think they've got a chance to do some cool stuff now. We've got Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Luke Kennard going to Atlanta. This was pretty cool, right? Atlanta's had a really fun offseason up to this point, getting Kristaps Porzingis and then Asa Newell 10 spots after they probably would have drafted him to get another first-round pick in the next year. And now they bring in Nickeil and Luke Kennard. Now, Nickeil's contract, I don't really like it. It's 4 years, $32 million. That's kind of a lot of money to commit to a guy that might be a bench piece for you. But I mean, they're making moves to compete in a weak Eastern Conference this year, and to that extent, I like it. I mean, he's proven that he can be a good player on a contender in Minnesota. So why not do it in Atlanta? Why can't they be the same? Luke Kennard, also one of the best shooters in the entire NBA, if not the best shooter. So that's just another weapon that they're adding. I love what's happening in Atlanta. Yeah, great guard and wing depth, two good shooters. Alexander Walker's also a great defender. Maybe not great, but at least good. Yeah, very Bruce Brownie type of move. I think that's what he could do for them in terms of what Bruce Brown did for Denver back in whatever year it was, 23, I think 2023. Yeah. Then we've got Taurean Prince. These ones might be a little bit more rapid fire. Taurean Prince, 2 years, $7 million, 3-and-D player. He's back on the Bucks. Yup, that's all I gotta say about that. Jordan Clarkson is rumored to be going to the Knicks. I actually really do like this to back up Jalen Brunson. He's a huge scoring threat. I saw a stat today saying like he leads the entire NBA in points off the bench in the 2020s, I think. I hope that's not wrong. But he leads in some stat points off the bench in some certain amount of time. I'm pretty sure it's the 2020s. But yeah, Jordan Clarkson on the Knicks, I think is really cool. Knicks might be the best team in the East next year, and they're just adding another weapon. We got Mason Plumlee, 1 year, $3.6 million to the Hornets. You getting basically a veteran to teach Moussa Diabate and Ryan Kalkbrenner how to be a good center, serviceable center in the NBA. Plumlee has been a Hornet before, so I guess he just likes the environment. I don't know why, right? They lose a lot, but maybe it's just a good culture over there, and Mason Plumlee can add to it and help out Diabate and Kalkbrenner while they grow. I really do like those two young guys, so I hope Plumlee can teach them right. Then we've got Trenton Watford, 2 year, $5.3 million to Philly. Good wing depth. He might play a good role on that team. He's got good 3-point upside. He's got good positional versatility, solid defender. So he could play a pretty big role in Philly. I mean, I like their roster on paper, right? I think a lot of people liked their roster on paper last year too, and it just didn't work out. So we'll see what happens with them. Nigel Hayes, 1 year to Phoenix. The number wasn't out whenever, at least it might be out, but I didn't see it. But he's on a 1 year contract to Phoenix. I think this is interesting. EuroLeague MVP. He's kind of a flop in the NBA, didn't really make it. And he's had a very good career overseas. And I think if you're able to, do well overseas in terms of like EuroLeague MVP, I mean, that's pretty big. You could probably make out a career of being a role player in the NBA or possibly more. You look at certain players that have done it. You get, I don't know, Luka Doncic, right? He's probably the only one that's going to turn into like an all-star unless we get another young EuroLeague MVP. But that is an example of a EuroLeague MVP, is Luka Doncic. Then we got Nigel Hayes. He's not going to be Luka Doncic. Sorry, Phoenix, but he's fine. I hope he plays well. We got Tyus Jones, 1 year, $7 million to Orlando. I think he's a great backup guard, good at controlling the pace. Just one of the best backups in the entire NBA. Good passer, smart player. rough year in Phoenix, but honestly, I would kind of discount anything that happened in Phoenix this last year. It just feels like it was a bad place to be for basketball. And I like Tyus Jones, so I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say that was the only year that is a wash for him. He's had a great career, had a good year in Washington, and then before that, as a backup in Memphis, I thought he was very good. Luka Garza, 2-year, 5.5 to Boston. Good backup. Nothing more to say about that. Good backup. He was great at Iowa. This isn't Iowa. He's been just kind of there in Minnesota and in the NBA. So I hope he can carve a space for himself in Boston. Be a good year to do that. He might even start for them because right now their current other big man is Xavier Tillman. And I honestly couldn't say who I like more outside of Luka Garza and Xavier Tillman. I don't know who would be that gets that starting job, so they'll probably both get chances. I don't think that bodes well for Boston, but we'll see. And then Gary Trent Jr., 2 years, 7.5 mil, re-signed to the Bucks. I really like this for Gary Trent and for the Bucks. I mean, he had a great year, 41% from three, averaged 11 points a game. Yeah, I really like Gary Trent Jr. and the Bucks just got him for cheap, like super cheap. I feel like he's in any other offseason, he would have been worth way more than this, but I think one of the themes of this offseason was people getting underpaid. Outside of Nickeil Alexander-Walker, I think a lot of people got underpaid. I think Dorian got paid right too. But yeah, so Gary Trent Jr. is still a Buck. I don't think I missed anything at the point of whenever I started recording. That's pretty much everything that happened. I think I saw something about Schroeder going to the Kings. I don't think that's solidified yet. But if he is a King, good luck to him. It seems like everything's falling apart in Sacramento. But Schroeder has been very good in this past year. It's been a weird, probably a really rough year for him. He's been a part of, I think, 4 different rosters, and this would make it 5 rosters, I think, in 2025, which is wild. Maybe, I don't know if he was in net in 2025, but if he was, that would be, I think, 5 different rosters. So, I don't know. Maybe that's a theme for a reason. I don't know. Don't know anything about Dennis Schroeder, but he had one of his best, if not his best, personal statistical year in the NBA, I think, this past year, especially whenever he was in Brooklyn. And he played well for Detroit, but that is coming to an end, I think. Okay, I'm tired. I'm going to edit this video and post it. Yeah, thank y'all. Have a good night.